Oh, joy, Tulsi Gabbard. She has dropped the Democratic Party, and nothing could make the likes of Trey Gowdy and all the other Republicans and anti-establishment Republicans and the libertarians happier and prouder. Nothing makes these parties happier than having a convert. Someone who has seen the error of their ways, lived on the inside, and has now come out to say, I reject the elitism. I reject the interventionism. I reject all of that about my previous party that I was part of. I now stand for the right side of things. Nothing makes them happier. And of course, that's what's happening with old Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi, I'm a veteran. I served. I defended your freedom. I would die for your freedom. That's what Tulsi says. Did you guys know? Hi, by the way, I'm Scott. That is Bo. There's no co-pilot. And today is the 17th day, I do believe. It is. It says so right there. Of October 2022. And my computer wouldn't lie to me, would it? Of course not. My computer is my only friend. It is Monday. It is bright and early. 9:45. Down here in slightly overcast Tampa, Florida. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I did. I played Scorn up until a point where I became scornful of the game itself. And then I realized that the name scorn, the word scorn, meaning to hold contempt for, it appears to me they called it scorn not because of anything that happens in the game, because who knows what happens in the fucking game. Aside from a vacuum cleaner giving you a BJ at the end, which, yeah, that happens. It turns out that apparently the devs who developed the game, they have a great deal of scorn. They hold a great deal of scorn for the people who play video games, specifically theirs. Lovely. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about old Tulsi. I would die for your freedoms, Gabbard. Yes, that's exactly what she said at one point in time. Don't, think I'm lying to you. That's what she said. I would die for your freedoms. And I've proved it by going and serving in the military. And I'd serve again tomorrow. Twice she actually served. She did go overseas to serve. Once she served in a medical facility, not a MASH unit, not a mobile unit out on the front. She served in a medical facility inside the green room, inside the green zone. And then another time she was in, Kuwait, serving as captain of a military police squad. Leading from behind, so to speak, even in Kuwait. Why was she able to get those cushy jobs, those cushy positions when she went to the military? Because her father was a career politician in the Hawaiian legislature. That's why. Joe Biden troubles me. Recently, he came out and said his son died in Iraq. He gave his life in Iraq. He didn't. He served in Iraq. He had a cushy job because, of course, he's Joe Biden. The kid was Joe Biden's son. And he was too close in the hotels he was staying in while he was serving, putting his life on the line for your freedom. He was too close to the burn pits. And 8 years after he gets out of the military service, he develops brain cancer and dies. Possibly be the shit that they were burning so they could buy more shit from the contractors who were demanding. They said, well, the contract's up. We have, we've already bought all this stuff. We'll burn it. And so they were taking shit that was perfectly good and throwing it in burn pits and burning it. releasing all these chemicals in the air. And of course, they were doing that they wouldn't do that out in the fucking, forward operating bases. They would do that. They could have, I don't know. But they certainly did it in near the green zones, which is where, of course, Joe Biden's son was. Listen, anybody who serves, good for them, good on them. I don't care if you're changing tires, you're doing, everybody's not a fucking, rah-rah dude with fucking guns in his hand, or female rah-rah gal with guns in her hands and doing stuff like that. I get that. It takes all kinds of people doing all kinds of jobs to serve the fucking interests of our national interests overseas. I get that. But it's got to be some form of stolen valor when someone acts as if they were out there on the fucking front lines and doing this and doing that and fighting for your freedom. When in all actuality, they were in a different fucking country. And the only threat that ever posed itself to them was when their fucking military police got a drunken soldier or sailor or whatever and brought him back into the office, and they caused a bit of a ruckus. I've proven I would die for your freedoms by arresting drunken sailors in Kuwait. Are we at war in Kuwait, by the way? Tulsi Gabbard. Everyone's excited about Tulsi Gabbard. She's dropped the Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is full of nothing but elites. Tulsi Gabbard grew up in a very nice area in fucking Hawaii. And she grew up very privileged because her father is a career politician in the Hawaiian state legislature and a businessman before that. And a businessman while he was doing that, making a very good living for himself and for his family. The Democratic Party only serves elites. The Democratic Party is fucking the interventionists. I'm non-interventionist. Says a woman who called Gaddafi, Saddam, Assad, evil dictators. When you pretend that you're opposed to interventionism, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor and try to avoid calling somebody an evil dictator when in fact they're not. Because all you're doing is tacitly supporting the regime change effort. Because your fans, your followers, are going to look at that and hear that and go, yeah, I don't really, but he is an evil dictator, so I understand why we're doing it. She doesn't come out and explain what they wanted in Iraq. She doesn't come out and explain what they wanted in fucking Libya. She doesn't come out and explain what they wanted in fucking Syria and still want in Syria. She's also a supporter of the Greater Kurdistan Project with the glorious Kurds. She's a big supporter of that. She spoke at Kufi, by the way. She's a big supporter of fucking Israel, by the way. She's not anti-interventionist. She's not. What she does is this. This is what she does. She checks to see which way the wind is a-blowing. Why? Because she was raised to be a fucking politician by a career politician. Her father, who was apparently very, very good at it. I'm sure she is. I'm sure she is. She will go whichever way the wind is a-blowing. I've got a couple. I mean, I've talked about her for a while, for years. I've tried to expose her when she was being prepped for a run in 2020. When she came out and said there was no fucking grounds to impeach Donald Trump. And then 4 days later, after getting her mind right, like Cool Hand Luke, I'll share that with you as well, she then comes out and changes her mind and says, yes, indeed, that fucking Ukrainian oligarch, who's, by the way, hooked up with Biden and Clintons and all those, that Ukrainian oligarch who was making tons of fucking money because the Democratic Party regime changed their country. The Ukrainian oligarch had evidence that Donald Trump committed an impeachable act. And so, of course, she changed her fucking story. She got her fucking mind right. She told Big Boss Man she's not going to backslide and backsass no more. And she came out in favor of impeaching Donald Trump. All of you guys out there on the right, all of you Tucker Carlson fans, all of you fucking Trey Gowdy fans, all of you people on the right, including the Max Blumenthals now, all of you motherfuckers, understand this. What you are getting is a chameleon who will change her fucking spots in a heartbeat if she sees the potential of getting fucking back into government, where she can get that free paycheck and all the little perks that go with it. Did she support fucking Bernie Sanders? Supposedly, while she was still alternative, while she was still making this while she was still grandstanding in 2019, 2016, 2019, when she thought that she could position herself to be the vice presidential candidate alongside Joe Biden, she turned her back on fucking Bernie Sanders while he was still running, and threw her support and her supporters behind Joe Biden, because Joe Biden loves the country so much. Grandpa, sneaky Uncle Slow Joe. That's what you're getting. A career liar who will go so far as to deny her own religious upbringing if it is politically expedient. That's what you're getting. Say what you will about Christianity and Judaism and Islam and whatever. Say what you will about all of them. Say what you will about her religion. One thing that was ingrained in her while she was growing up, through the religion her father and her mother were part of, and she became part of, was a disdain for people who were attracted to folks of the same sex. Now, I don't care. I don't care. There's obviously parts of Christianity that do the same thing. And then, of course, in the Catholic Church, you got fucking priests and meh. Don't care. However, this is who she was. And she talked about who she was. And she said things that back in the day, before she was, it occurred to her that everything you say is going to be fucking reviewed in the future. Then she had to change her position on that. Oh no, I reject that. What is she rejecting? She's rejecting the fucking core principles that made her who she was. Everyone can change, Scott. Everyone can be enlightened. She didn't do it because she was enlightened. She did it because she wanted to be in the fucking Democratic Party. And that wasn't kosher in the Democratic Party at the time. So she got her mind right. Much like she did with supporting Joe Biden. Much like she did with the impeachment of Donald Trump. She gets her mind right. She always gets her mind right. Because it benefits her. When it benefits her. Let me show you some stuff about Tulsi Gabbard, just so you know. It's not just some fucking dude sitting here ranting. Scott must hate women. Scott must hate the Democrats. What are we going to start with? Bingo! Tulsi Gabbard quits Democratic Party attacking elitist cabal of warmongers. Cabal. I like how she does her hair like that. People say, Scott, that's natural. No, it isn't. I'm going to show you a bunch of videos from not that long ago. And that isn't there. Sometimes it's gray. Sometimes it's white. What is the point? I don't fucking know. I also like this. This is another... People don't like someone named Russell Westbrook. Russell Wilson. They don't like Russell Westbrook either. Russell Wilson. He's a quarterback who played for Seattle and he came down to play for Denver. They're playing tonight, by the way. They don't like him. Why? Because he is so inauthentic. He's one of those people when you talk to, you can just tell they are a facade. They're a persona. They're what they think you want them to be. And his teammates don't like it. His coach doesn't like it. And you watch him, they say he's cheesy, but it goes beyond being, he is cheesy. He's wealthy. He's rich as shit. He just bought the most expensive house in fucking Boulder or wherever it is, somewhere in Denver. The most expensive house. It's a mansion. He's very wealthy. He's got a beautiful wife. And he's a starting quarterback for an NFL team, so what the hell do I know? However, he's very successful, like Tulsi. However, the thing on him is he is extremely inauthentic. Extremely inauthentic, which is what I'm talking about with Tulsi Gabbard. She is extremely inauthentic. She is a contrivance. That's why she'll drop from Democrat to Republican, because currently things are looking much better for the Republicans this year, and certainly in 2024. Why? Because shit's going to get worse. 2023 is supposed to be bad. We're going to have a massive fucking economic downturn. Things are going to get worse before they get better. They're still pushing. They're still making the economy scream. So what's going to happen is the party that's in power is going to lose. So Tulsi, wanting that fucking government paycheck and all the perks that come with it, she's jumping ship because she knows this is coming. Somebody who supported the fucking impeachment of Donald Trump not that long ago, boys and girls. Somebody who said all fucking Joe Biden wants to do, he's got so much love for the people, I'm going to support. This is not fucking somebody talking about Joe Biden back before he said, he was reaching his hand out for fucking payoffs when he first got to the Senate, and they said, hold on, youngster, you got to wait a little while before you do that. Please, I'll fucking sell out for $50. Nope, you got to wait. He jokes about that. This is not somebody saying this shit about Joe Biden before the video came out where he talked about the fact that he forced a prosecutor in Ukraine to lose his job because he was looking into Burisma Holdings, a company that his fucking son was getting a kickback for, to the tune of $600,000 a year, and he joked and bragged about it. I said, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. And they said, well, here's the vice president. Obama's in charge of that. He said, I told him, call it. And lo and behold, they fired him before I fucking got to the plane. Now we got somebody in there who's a friend. That right there should have disqualified Joe Biden. In a real democracy, it would have. She endorsed him. After that. And y'all are celebrating? Kidding, Tulsi Gabbard? Enjoy. Let me show you some of this fun stuff. Which one is this? Don't know. Probably it's going to be a long time. This is 2019, I think. I think I made this in 2019. Don't hold me. The incredible hypocrisy of Tulsi Gabbard's impeachment backsliding. Now, this came from... Now, I made this in 2019. Mom was still alive. God bless her. I'm in a different chair. And I seem a little bit thinner. That's the only difference. So, we have this. Tulsi gets it right on Wednesday. Now, here's the breaking news. This is what was sent to me, a video from a whistleblower. This is what people right now are all excited about. Tulsi has fucking left the fucking Democratic Party. Oh, Lordy. Look how happy we are. And she's attacking the elitist cabal of warmongers. We'll talk about that in a second as well. Y'all are happy. Apparently, Tulsi was out. She does these videos. Well, you've seen these videos where she's working out and she's just one of you and she's just like you are. That's the whole fucking identity politics, trying to get them, middle class, upper middle class, white women to fucking jump on board with her. And she's working out. And you've seen those videos? Well, now she does some videos with her gardening outside, apparently. So what happened was she was gardening outside, according to the whistleblower, and some members of the DNC came by to pay a visit on her Thursday evening while she was gardening outside. Apparently, she was planting some begonias or something. I don't know what she was doing. Apparently, they came by to have a little chat with her, and it went on into the evening. Now, I'm just going to show you a clip from the back end of that. But watch this. This is what happened. Here we go. Watch this. Tulsi. It's kind of dark because it's at night. And she might not look this is proof. Exactly like Tulsi Gabbard, but trust me, when the whistleblower has told me he knows for sure this is definitely Tulsi Gabbard and definitely a representative of the DNC talking to her. Watch this.
I do anything you say, but I can't take it anymore.
You got your mind right, Luke?
Yeah. All right. Oh, I got it right, boy. You can't take very much fun anymore.
Suppose you just backslide on us.
Oh, no, I won't, boy.
Suppose you just a backsass.
I ain't gonna backsass.
I won't, I got my mind right.
I ain't got my mind right. Tulsi says she ain't gonna backslide no more. She ain't gonna backsass. Because she did, in fact, say, hang on a second, where is it? She did, in fact, say, at first, that Tulsi Gabbard says impeachment will only embolden Trump's chances of winning. That's what she said. She couldn't support the fucking... She couldn't support the fucking impeachment of Donald Trump in late 2019, not even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Because there wasn't enough fucking evidence, according to her, and all it's going to do is fucking embolden his chances of re-election. Which seems to be reasonable. But then she had a meeting. She had a meeting. And what happened during the meeting? That's in the house, watching Tulsi work was her rah crowd. The ones who were there. They're the ones, the canvassers, the people go door to door. And they were just kind of hanging out watching her in the backyard working in the garden when this took place. And as you can see...
You try to run again, we're going to kill you.
I won't, boy.
Now that's definitely a Hillary Clinton thing. You try to fucking speak bad about us again. You get out of line again, we're going to kill you. I won't, Miss Clinton. I won't, Master Clinton. I won't. That's Tulsi Gabbard. So I go on and keep doing that again. I show more of that. But this is what I show. Tulsi Gabbard's statement on the impeachment inquiry. Up to this point, I have been opposed to pursuing impeachment because it will further divide our already badly divided country. Which, by the way, is not what she said. She said it would A, embolden him, and B, there wasn't enough grounds, enough material for an impeachment. Now she claims she didn't want to divide the country. However, after looking carefully at the transcript of the conversation between Ukraine's president, the whistleblower complaint, the Inspector General memo, and President Trump's comments about the issue, unfortunately, I believe that if we do not pursue with the inquiry, it will set a dangerous precedent. Future presidents, as well as anyone in positions of power in the government, will conclude that they can abuse their position for personal gain without fear of accountability or consequences. This is from Tulsi Gabbard's own fucking website. She got her mind right. She got her mind right. This is not the kind of country that any of us want to see. So it is unfortunate but necessary that I speak in support of the inquiry into the president's alleged abuse of power in relation to interactions with Ukraine's leaders. We can't let Trump undermine our democracy, was her position. That was her position. That's what she did. That's a video I made back then. Back in the day. A second term for Trump is a serious concern here, says Tulsi Gabbard. But Scott, she's so anti-interventionist. Well, let's talk about this first. How can you be anti-interventionist if you support fucking Joe Biden? Tulsi Gabbard ends 2020 campaign and endorses not Bernie Sanders, who was at least tacitly anti-interventionist, except for the fact that he did the same trick that Tulsi Gabbard did. Gaddafi, Saddam, Bashar al-Assad, Putin, they're all evil dictators. Bernie Sanders got more involved in helping regime change Libya. But that's a different video. Quote, I know Vice President Biden and his wife, and I'm grateful to have called his son Beau, who also served in the National Guard, a friend. Although I may not agree with the Vice President on every issue, I know that he has a good heart and is motivated by his love for our country and the American people, says Tulsi Gabbard about Joe Biden. Oh, yeah. She's no backsliding there. But she's so anti-interventionist. Tulsi Gabbard endorses very limited use of drones against ISIS and Al-Qaeda in our regime change efforts, our interventionist regime change efforts in other countries. Well, that's not anti-interventionist, Scott. You're right. Here she goes. There you go. You can stop and read that. People of Libya deserve freedom from fucking the evil dictator Gaddafi, which is why 97% of them voted for him in a free and open election. That's 2018, boys and girls. Tulsi Gabbard's deceptive foreign policy. This is also 2018. The Hawaii Congresswoman's anti-interventionism masks an affinity for authoritarians, nationalists, and Islamophobes, and possibly even homophobes. Let me read this for you. This is from Foreign Policy, Nation's Foreign Policy page. This is The Nation. Lefties. In the long shadow of the Iraq War, Gabbard's vocal opposition to U.S.-led regime change in the Middle East has made her appealing to skeptics of the foreign policy establishment's unquestioning fidelity to military intervention. in their view, Gabbard is a lonely voice, one of the only politicians to learn the lesson of Iraq, and Libya, and Syria, that removing dictators across American lives or costs American lives and taxpayer dollars devastates the people of these countries and spawns humanitarian crises. Writing in The Nation in 2016, Gabbard said that she wanted to give voice to the millions of Americans, including my fellow veterans, who once again, she's always got to mention she was a vet. She's always got to bring up the fact that she is a vet. All the fucking time. To give voice to millions of Americans, including my fellow veterans, who desperately wanted to end our country's illegal, counterproductive war to overthrow the Syrian government, which risked allowing ISIS and Al-Qaeda and other terrorist groups to take over all of Syria. Yet it would be a mistake to place Gabbard in the lineage of internationalists and anti-war American leftism that seeks, among other things, to help emancipate and defend the opposed, the oppressed. In fact, Gabbard's public record points to a much different direction, toward a American-first Trumpism of the left that would restore the Middle East's dictators club as long as it benefits the United States. On closer analysis, hers is a foreign policy that favors authoritarianism cloaked as counter-terrorism, nationalism cloaked as anti-interventionism, and Islamophobia barely cloaked at all. To begin with, Gabbard doesn't actually oppose military intervention or the abusive tactics to prosecute the war on terror. How do we know that? She endorses very limited use of drones against ISIS and Al-Qaeda. She summarized her philosophy in telling the West Hawaii Today that when it comes to the war against terrorists, I'm a hawk. When it comes to counterproductive wars of regime change, I'm a dove. Gabbard is a staunch supporter of the United States' counter-ISIS campaign. You know ISIS. They were our fucking fabrication. We used them in Syria to remove Syrians and install and hand over territory to the Kurds. And then we used them in Iraq as cover for bombing the shit out of the people that were really just trying to fucking remove and get our puppet government out of power in that country. That's ISIS. And she supports our ISIS campaigns, both of them. During a visit to India in 2014, she told an interviewer that the United States had failed in its very clear mission to defeat Islamic extremism. The fight, she said, led her to enlist after September 11th attacks. No, her father telling her it would look good to be able to talk about this and mention every single time a camera's in your face that you are a vet, that's good for your political career. That's why she did it. Continuing, and that we need to focus all of our efforts and energy and root out this evil wherever it is. When pressed on whether torture could be part of those efforts, Gabbard didn't reject it, saying some believed it worked. Oh, torture's an okay thing with Tulsi Gabbard. Invoking the fantastical scenario of a ticking nuclear time bomb, Gabbard said that if she were president, she would do everything in her power to keep American people safe, including, of course, torture. Gabbard's hawkishness on Islamic terrorism has led in strange directions for someone perceived to be on the left. In 2015, for example, invoking a plan floated nearly a decade earlier by then Vice President Joe Biden, she told CNN that to defeat ISIS, the United States needed to abandon the fantasy of a unified Iraq and help divide the country into Sunni, Shia, and Kurdish areas. That's right, break up the fucking shit. Which, of course, is part of a fucking greater Middle East plan voiced by Lieutenant Peters back in 2005. She's well educated. She knows what to say and how to frame it. But more importantly, what to say to get people who matter to support her campaigns. Perhaps most notoriously, she is engaged with brutal authoritarians such as Syria's Bashar al-Assad and Egypt's Abdel Fattah el-Sisi in the name of countering terrorism. This is an important one. In 2015, 2 years after he orchestrated the worst mass killing of protesters in modern history, a smiling Gabbard appeared next to a grinning al-Sisi on a visit to Cairo, in which she praised him for showing great courage and leadership. We regime changed. More importantly, Obama and Biden regime changed brutally regime changed Egypt. Their first democratically elected president, Morsi, because they had created a constitution and put it forward to a referendum, and the people had accepted it, that would have made illegal all of these different attributes that we impose, structural adjustments that we impose when the IMF gives us or forces us to take a loan. By the constitution of the country, those things would have been illegal because of all the rights it grants to their people. We couldn't have that. So Kerry went to al-Sisi, and al-Sisi overthrew the goddamn government, made illegal a political party, much like our friend in Ukraine has done. And she went and stood next to this. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. Killed thousands of protesters. Shh. 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 Mum's the word on that. Our brutal, vicious dictator. Locking people up for supporting a different political party, and killing thousands of his own people in order to stay in power. And Tulsi Gabbard went and stood next to him and patted him on the back and said he was a great man. This is what you're getting. The anti-interventionist. She is soulless. If she will deny her own religious foundation just to get some votes, that means there's nothing about her. There's no character. Because these are the foundations of character. You have a belief and you stick with it. You don't switch back and forth and forth and back and back and forth and forth and back. You don't go, which way is the wind blowing? And when I say which way is the wind blowing, I'm not making that shit the fuck up. This is from today. New York Times Siena poll is the latest to show Republican gains. She's not going to win in the Democratic Party. She's not. Maybe she could go back and be in the House again. Maybe. She retired. She quit. She ran away. She said, I'm done. Why? Because she thought... No, she retired here, 2020. She retired. Where's her fucking white hair, by the way? Where's that white streak? Where is it? I don't see it. Tell me, help me out here. Where is it? That's just 2 years ago. Oh, but it's natural, Scott. She's a fraud. She retired. Why? Because she really thought that she would end up at least being the vice presidential candidate. Especially when she fucking turned her back on Bernie. Got her mind right. Told big boss man she's not going to backslide anymore. She had the right idea with she said she had the right idea. She got on board with the impeachment of fucking Donald Trump. She said sneaky Uncle Slojo is a great man who's motivated only by his love of the country and the people in it. She fully expected. Then all of a sudden, pow, Kamala Harris. But I'm a person of color, says Tulsi Gabbard. I'm a woman, says Tulsi Gabbard. And I'm not a fucking idiot, says Tulsi Gabbard. But no, Kamala Harris. So here she is, a lefty, moving to the right because she can't stand what it is that the left are doing. It's wrong. It's wrong. I tell you, it's wrong. Why is that not shocking? How come people see this and go, oh my God, this is something. This is great. You know who else did this? Do you know who else did this? Paul Wolfowitz, Douglas Feith, and Richard Pearl. They were part of a thing back in 60s and 70s, early 70s. They were part of an organization, a group, Social Democrats USA, Max Schachtman, Trotskyist. They were part of this movement, the Democratic Party. But the new left started making things a little different because of Lyndon Baines Johnson's Great Society. They all of a sudden decided, you know what, we're not hating on Russia enough. So when the Democrats back then wanted George McGovern in 1992 to run for fucking office against the president, for president, these guys kind of broke off. The Paul Wolfowitzes, the Doug Fifes, the Richard Pearls. And they supported this guy named Henry Scoop Jackson. Now, who is Henry Scoop Jackson? Henry Scoop Jackson is a Roy Cohn supporter. If you don't know who Roy Cohn is, you can look that dude up. God, Jesus Christ. He was a Democrat in the vein of the centrist Dems now. Pro-corporation, pro-business, very anti-communist. I mean, Red Scare kind of shit. Scoop Jackson to Roy Cohn to Joe McCarthy. McCarthyism. Very much hated all things socialist, all things communist, and worked in that. So they supported him. These are, who is Douglas Feith, Paul Wolfowitz. Who are these guys? They are the core of the neocons. Then along came other Republicans. That's when they shifted and became Republicans. They were the new conservatives, neocons. Okay? But they were Democrats. They worked for, and in the campaign of, and in the fucking offices of, Henry Scoop Jackson. They were Democrats who turned Republican because they didn't like the direction the Democratic Party was going. And at that time, the direction was anti-interventionism, anti-war, the Great Society, not hating on fucking Russia as much. So they jumped ship, and that's where they went. I'm not terribly shocked by her doing this at all. This is from 2019. Tulsi Gabbard, Bashar al-Assad is a brutal dictator, just like Saddam Hussein. Just so you know, this is her quote unquote. This is her version of anti-interventionist. 2020 Democratic candidate. Presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard said Thursday that Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad is a brutal dictator. Just a day after Kamala Harris said the Hawaiian congresswoman had embraced Assad. Nope, I got my mind right. I'm not backsliding. I'm not backslashing. During an interview with CNN host Chris Cuomo, Jesus Christ, Chris Cuomo, called on Gabbard to acknowledge that Bashar al-Assad is a murderous despot. I don't dispute anything that you're saying there. He's a brutal dictator just like Saddam Hussein, just like Gaddafi in Libya, replied Gabbard, who was an Iraq War veteran. That's what she does. You got your mind right? Asks Chris Cuomo. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. We had a right to protect. They were brutal dictators. Monsters. Gaddafi in Libya. Hussein in Iraq. And of course, Bashar al-Assad. Cooper pressed her for a response, asking, on a factual basis, Bashar al-Assad is a murderer and a torturer. Do you agree with that or not? I don't dispute that. Gabbard replied. I got my mind right, boss. Because she did. That's Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard will say and do whatever the fuck she's told to do. She will stand with real fucking dictators and murderers, such as Egypt's al-Sisi. She will stand behind and support real fucking dictators and murderers like Joe Biden. She is a creature of fucking politics. Nothing more, nothing less. She has a survival instinct. And even though she's been out now for 2 years, a little over 2 years, because she thought they were going to fucking give her payback for getting her mind right, the Democratic Party, they didn't. So now what is she doing? Now she's turning on the Democratic Party because they picked fucking Kamala Harris after she did her transition, after she did her cool hand Luke fucking routine. Now she's burning down the Democratic Party. Why? Because the Democratic Party's burned itself down, and it's going to get fucking worse thanks to the World Economic Forum. And she's trying to get elected again now on the right. A la the libertarians or the alt-right or the rhinos or even the Trump right. She'll do whatever. She'll do whatever. After endorsing Trump's fucking impeachment. She'll do whatever. So for those of you who are happy, you know, you got Tulsi Gabbard on your side now. Tulsi Gabbard has jumped ship. You're welcome to her, I'm sure. Most people on the left, you're welcome to her. You're welcome to her. And certainly in the real alt-left community, you're certainly welcome to her. I don't care. It's Republicans, Democrats, it's all the fucking same. You know, like, the gall to say that Republicans aren't fucking warmongers. Oh my God. The Democratic Party, they're the ones who are so interventionist. Do you remember fucking Iraq? Do you remember fucking Afghanistan? Did these things ring a bell at all? Do you remember the global war of terror? Do you remember any of that? Then they say, oh, the Democrats, they're bought and paid for by the fucking financial elites. Jesus God, Jesus Christ. Do you remember Dick Cheney sitting in the office in fucking early January of 2001 and holding a fucking energy commission meeting with all the fucking heads of American energy companies and literally taking out a map of Iraq and putting it on the table and saying, okay, who gets this oil reserve? Who gets this liquid natural gas reserve? That happened. He did that in early 2001, before 9/11. Almost as if You can have Tulsi Gabbard. Enjoy. Have fun. But you know this about her. If she doesn't get what she wants, she'll take her ball and go home. Because that's what Tulsi Gabbard does. If she doesn't get to run for office, some kind of higher office, maybe vice presidential candidate with fucking Ron DeSantis. Gee, I wonder what could be motivating her. If she doesn't get what she wants, she'll take her ball and go home, and in 2026, she'll be talking about you guys just the exact same fucking way she's talking about the left now. Because she has no fucking character. She never has. She never will. Bye-bye.